Hello and welcome to the Block Explorer. I'm Colin Brightfield.
Hey folks, I'm Cash Upton.
The Block Explorer is here to educate and inspire you about the world of crypto and NFTs.
We'll do deep dives into critical concepts for understanding what's just happening and discuss the current events shaping the space.
We're making this podcast for the curious, the free thinkers, and change makers that propel us forward.
As we embark on our adventures, remember that none of this is financial advice and crypto is risky.
In this episode of Getting Nifty, we discuss the current state of the NFT ecosystem, Solana NFTs, and the future of visual art.
So I'm excited to get nifty.
Yeah, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm excited to get nifty.
We had some exciting news out of the crypto NFT space that happened over the weekend. Is Visa, the credit card company, bought a CryptoPunk.
The Visa.
Yes, they bought a CryptoPunk.
What'd they pay for it? Like 150 grand?
They bought it. Yeah, they bought a floor CryptoPunk.
The floor, right.
Yeah.
Smart move. Sweeping the floor.
Yeah. So they said that they collect artifacts from payment history and that CryptoPunks show a new kind of asset class. And it's a almost like a historical artifact in their view, and that's why they bought it. And it's really cool. I mean, it's an acknowledgement of NFTs are obviously it's a sign of legitimacy. But I also think it's funny that they bought like a floor punk for like 150 grand when like Visa could definitely afford to pay for more, you know?
Right. But hey, good on them. It's an investment and they're taking the stance too that it's historical. You're right. Like they specifically said they want to capture that piece of payment history.
Yeah. So exactly. So they're kind of looking at it at this. I also want to, it's also because I think they want to seem like they're cool and that they're part of the club.
Yep. And again, like you said, it adds some legitimacy to the space with Visa getting more into the crypto world, and then Venmo.
Well, obviously it's an acknowledgement that NFTs are here to stay, right? Like Visa's buying an NFT. That's ridiculous. If you told me, a year ago that Visa would buy some pixelated crypto JPEGs that are punks for $150,000, right? I never would have ever believed you. And then Arizona Ice Tea bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. So they aped in, and they were posting on their Twitter about it and how they're part of the ape family now. I think we're going to just start seeing more brands take this stance. I mean, it's kind of it's almost like a pun intended guerrilla marketing technique.
Love it. Yeah, no, we're going to start seeing apes on cans and a lot more mainstream. It's a sign of the times, which is cool for the NFT space.
Yeah, I mean,
your episode,
it's really is turning. It has turned a corner. I mean, the hype keeps growing, and everyone keeps thinking like, when is it going to stop? But people don't really understand that this is still this really early in the beginning, because NFTs are culture, right? So like if you look at crypto space as a whole, right, a lot of it's been centered in finance, of course, right? So we've had decentralized finance, DeFi, but that only is and like obviously a lot of tech people, but that's a certain section of the total, economy and surface area of society. But if you add in art and you add in culture, which everyone participates in culture, right? Even if you act like you don't want to participate in culture, that's still kind of a form of culture. So, yeah, we're social creatures. So the NFTs are a social phenomenon, and there's so much more surface area for them to play on. I mean, you look at everything from the NBA Top Shots, and I know that all the other major league base teams are looking at what Top Shot, the NBA Top Shots did. You're looking at there's the European soccer clubs, they're all interested in that. So I mean, there's the whole surface area of sports, then there's music, there's art, and then we haven't even touched upon the social media aspect of NFTs, which is going to be a whole nother game-changing thing that's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be when you really do own your own content. And what you're saying for the historical times, because they're non-fungible, they can't be corrupted or stolen or lost, then they really do add a nice historical marker for big events in history.
Yes, exactly. It's a permanent record of what happened, who was there, what happened, what kind of art was created, or what anything that interacts with the blockchain, right? It gets recorded on that ledger, so everyone can see it.
Yep, the beauty of the transparency. We have a little update. How about on Solana? Some of the NFT space of Solana.
Yeah, the whole Solana ecosystem has been firing. I think it's Solana season. That was one of their names of one of their hackathons
Yes.
that they had a little while ago. Solana season, and I think where Solana season is upon us, the token itself has been pumping in value. I think it's up almost like 75-80% in the past 2 weeks, or maybe even more than that. And then there's a lot of NFTs on the Solana chain that have just also been exploding as well. And so we're seeing, not NFTs, not just doing well on Ethereum, which is our layer one main chain, but also we're looking at other layer ones that are hosting NFT art, and they're also doing well, like Solana art.
Yeah. And the Solana space just shows it. I mean, a week ago we were at $45 or $40 a share for Solana. And now, I mean, it's pumping close to 70. It spiked up to 78 earlier this week.
Yeah, it hit all times high. We're at all time
Yeah.
highs for Solana right now. And we saw TikTok announce a deal with Audius. Audius is the music streaming tokenized decentralized service that has launched on Solana. And the
Yes.
Audius token also, it jumped from about $1 and some change to about $3.95. So it almost 4x almost in the short run, and then it settled back down at like $3 a token right now, or something like that, maybe a little under. But either way, that's huge news for the ecosystem. That TikTok, I mean, come on, massive service for social media getting involved with the NFT space through the music, through Audius.
Yeah, and we're really excited for Audius. We're going to jump into them deeper next episode to really explore how they're working with musicians and using that aspect of the NFT blockchain space. So doing cool stuff for our musician friends.
Yeah, and beyond that, we also have the DGen Ape Academy, and that's one of the NFTs that we launched, that we talked about minting a couple of weeks ago, maybe on the last episode of Getting Nifty, and they have exploded in value. Cash, tell me what's going on with them.
They sure have. They're at a floor price of 46.69 SOL at current $70-ish a SOL. Then you're looking at around 3,200 for this ape that was they were minting it for 6 SOL.
Yeah, they minted for 6 SOL. So
almost like 7x, but I think that's back when SOL was even closer to like 40 or $42 or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So really seen some big increases here with the DGen Ape Academy. So, again, Solana really shown a lot of traction in the space.
Yeah, there's been a few other NFTs on the Solana ecosystem that have launched as well. There's Solamas.
Yeah,
and
right.
Those are really fun. I like those. I just like the name. I think that's a cool name.
Yeah. They had a floor of around 3 when I was looking for them a week ago. I wonder what they're at now. We'll have to check back in. But one I'm really, really excited for is they're kind of doing the whole like NFT for social justice or for equity, and they're helping out our shark friends. And it's called Rogue Shark. And it's pretty cool. Their whole origin story for the NFT creature is that they're trying to highlight the shark fin soup industry, and how our shark friends get their fins cut off and left to die. And so it's more than just a little piece of digital art. They're really trying to make something cool happen and bring some awareness to something that's pretty horrific.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's a fantastic use case for these NFTs for having utility in the real world.
Right.
Is that NFTs can be, they can be fun, but you can link them to some amazing causes. And because of the smart contracts, and that means that you can program, right? You can write programming language into the art itself, right? Which is what makes the NFTs unique, right? It's not just a JPEG. It's a JPEG with a bunch of code that's embedded in it. So it has functionality. So you can make it so you have an idea, for saving a certain forest. So then you have everyone who donates a certain amount to save this forest, they get a certain kind of really cool NFT designed by a up and coming artist that draws really rad trees or something like that, right? And then they all get these cool tree NFT dropped to them in their wallet because they donated a certain amount to the cause that saves the forest. And then they also get to show this tree around, and then that tree has utility. Maybe that gets you into some certain events, or maybe that gets you some discounts to a festival they have in the forest, or maybe it gets you, they can even sell it, as a piece of art. And if they sell it, then the smart contract donates part of that sale, goes back to the original foundation to preserve that forest, right? Yep. So these are that's just like a really simple use case example of how these NFTs can be deployed in such a way that, right now it's like if you can go donate money to, all these different nonprofits and you can still feel really good about it. But I mean, how cool would it be is if you could have these NFTs as like badges that you could rock around with that showed right that and all these causes, and it would create this kind of amazing positive reinforcement around giving.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you hit it on the head with the smart contracts is, if someone goes and sells that NFT, there can be, 5% of the sale that goes back to the nonprofit, and it's in perpetuity. So, you can really have some traction for nonprofits or these causes that are, trying to preserve our sharks or our forests, and yeah, some really cool stuff. Kind of kicking myself, Colin. I just checked Solana art, and Solana floor is at 9 Sol now.
Oh man, so it was at 3 last time you checked, huh?
Yeah, probably should have picked it up at 3 Sol.
Wow, those Solana NFTs are really picking up a lot of steam.
There's going to be a wild drop. Just the last little thing on my mind is the Bold Badgers Solana NFT project, which has been talking about a drop in the last day or two, and so they're going to announce any minute now. So follow their Discord. Jump
the Bold Badgers. Are you gonna be a Bold Badger?
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. So with all these NFTs, I think it's important to like the art and like them, because you might be stuck with them, and you can, you some of them are, you can flip, and some of them you can sell, and some of them you might never want to sell. It's really interesting what happens to us with these NFTs, because it's different than just like holding some random token, right? Because if you don't really necessarily get emotionally attached to a certain random token, like whatever you're holding. And with these NFTs, it's kind of like if you have like a certain ape or a certain whatever it is, a certain bull or a certain bear or a certain Solana, you can create this kind of attachment, emotional attachment can happen around that item and that art. And that's what's cool about art, right? But that's also what makes it different about holding a token. And so there's some people who, they're buying this art and they have a certain attachment to it that there's almost like no price. They're price insensitive. Like there's no
right. They're never going to sell.
Yeah. And there was a quote on Twitter by Vincent Van Doe, who is like a big whale and a big collector in the NFT space. And, he said that this isn't a quick flip. This is a land grab, because like, this is like not like, a lot of these people have the mindset of like holding these for like 10, 15, 20 years, or not, if even more than that, and some of these, and it's like, imagine if you knew that Renoir or Vincent Van Gogh is going to only paint 10,000 paintings or 8,888 paintings, and you had a chance to get one of his paintings right when he was starting out, and they were cheap for like a couple $100.
Right. Like, that's the beauty of the internet. You can do that now with the up and coming artists, the new,
yeah. And when you really do the math on it, it's like, okay, there's 10,000 Bored Apes, but how many people are in the world, right? There's 4.7 billion people online. Of course, obviously not everyone's going to want one.
Not everyone.
Then, if you just look at how big the market is for this stuff, right? Not everyone's going to want to own Bitcoin or get into DeFi and do yield farming, but most people are going to want to be able to show off their vibe, their tribe, what they like, their preferences, their culture through expression of themselves. And because we're spending more time on the internet, more time online, and the pandemic just accelerated all of this. This is why NFTs are so big, is because people want to show who they are. And because we're spending more and more time online, your online identity now is just as valuable, if not more valuable. And it's worth it to express yourself in a way that resonates with you. And that's why people are spending this amount of money on these NFTs.
Right. And, we're talking about kind of the avatar NFTs, whereas there's only going to be infinite possibilities for NFTs. Maybe we should start playing a game on the Game Nifty where we just keep thinking of more use cases for NFTs. There really is so many. Medical records are going to start becoming NFTs, and that's not even art. And, if we just
land titles, everything.
Yeah. And the art
anything that needs to be anything that where you need to authenticate who owns it, or you need to authenticate like the history of it, like birth certificates, death certificates. I mean, everything's going to be on the blockchain. Yeah.
Should we do a quick Ethereum NFT check-in?
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that. So we had a few things going on in the Ethereum NFT ecosystem. Go ahead, Cash.
Well, one little eye roll that you hear about the Crypto Gem Alliance.
Yeah, it was like different gems.
They're making very slightly different, non-perfect digital creations of these beautiful gems, but that's what they are. And so I had a little bit of an eye roll. But hey, I'm not one to hate on an artist's thought of NFT space. So we'll see where that one goes. I don't know if your girlfriend would say yes with the crypto gem. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny what people are trying. It's with making these like online rocks, essentially, right? These digital rocks, but people are buying them. So maybe there'll be one day where you do actually just propose to your significant other by getting them a gem NFT.
Right? No blood, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and you could certify and authenticate it on the blockchain. So
right,
there's that, right? You could prove that it's real. But it actually, all joking aside, speaking of use cases, like insuring different, high value items like that, insurance, that's another blockchain use case, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the list goes on and on. But with the ETH NFTs, the next thing is the Stoner Cats. What's going on with them? What's an update?
Yeah, stoked that they're announcing they posted about being in the writer's room and getting through episode 2. So we're hoping that we get to watch that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's cool to watch these different communities develop, and that's really what sets apart, what a good NFT investment, when it comes to these like collections and profile picture type of avatar NFT collections, is the value really comes from the leadership of the project and the community that develops around it, and how active the community is and how much they're contributing and how much they're creating. And that's what's also the genius of these NFT projects, is that when you buy in to the project, right, you own like a piece of it, the project itself. So like the owners of the NFTs are also the ones who create the project and also who benefit when it appreciates in value. So you're the owner, the creator, and the beneficiary, all three in one, and also the investor, right? So you're seeding the project with your money. Then the project is being created. You're getting involved as much as you'd like. Some, maybe you don't get that involved. Maybe you're really involved. And then as the project develops in value, as the community develops in value, in theory, right, your NFT should go up in value and appreciate in value. So then you're sharing in that whole value creation. That's the community value, not just your own value. And that's like the most amazing model for cooperation and coordination that we've come across. It's like, look, everyone wins. Everybody wins. Whereas like, if you look at it, like our other systems, right, it's like, okay, there's a couple people at the top who own everything. They pay a bunch of other people at the bottom to do a lot of the work. And then when the value gets created, the people at the top take it, right? And then the users of the network, the users get nothing, right? The users get worked, right? If you look at like Facebook, Like the users were the users.
Yeah, we're
We
getting
we we
all
we
the
get all our
reward.
data stolen and manipulated, and then Facebook collects all this value from selling our data, and then pays its employees whatever they pay them, but then the people at the top, get the lion's share of the money,
Right.
and that's how it works. And
And
if you're,
that's
go ahead.
well, that's the beauty of these DAOs that are coming together for the NFTs. So like what you're talking about is like the bulls on the block, they have a community fund through, sales revenue. And as a holder of a bull, you can vote on what is this community fund used for.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the new DAO. For those of us that don't know, is a decentralized autonomous organization, and
Thank you.
it's autonomous in that it is self-sustained, in that it doesn't need to go outside itself to regulate itself. So like, like an LLC or a C Corp or whatever has to go to the legal system of the United States or the local jurisdiction, city or state, wherever you are, to conduct business. Whereas a DAO, literally, it's all self-contained. All decisions that it needs to make, everything that needs to get done it can be resolved from within the structure of the DAO itself. And through
Right.
a
And
lot of
that's
it, like a lot of it is like these like voting systems. There's different structures, and we can talk forever. That's a whole nother episode.
yep.
But the key point is that the value that's created is then distributed to everyone that's part of the community, because the value, there isn't one person at the top collecting all the value and creating all the value. Everyone's co-creating and collaborating together to create the value of the community. And as the community develops in value, if you're part of that community and you hold the tokens that make you part of that community, then those tokens will probably appreciate value and you become more wealthy because of it. And it creates this positive feedback loop. And that's where you see why people are like, why are Bored Apes, like the floor is like, I think like 50 ETH, 60 ETH, 70 ETH, something like that now. Why are they so successful? It's because the community that they have is really vibrant, and they work hard and they build stuff and they create things.
Yeah.
And they support each other. And so when someone goes to launch something, like there's the Bored Ape IPA, like they have the Bored Ape Yacht Club IPA. There's a beer. They made they made a microbrewery from the Bored Apes. And what's cool is like when you launch something like in the Bored Apes, you already have I think there's like 5,500 unique owners. So you already have about 5,500 people who are going to support that project, whether it's an IPA you want to launch, or it's a clothing brand, or it's whatever it is, right? You already have like a community of people who are going to be diehard supporters or whatever it is you want to create. And that's what's the like, we don't need to use Kickstarter, or you don't need to go get VC funding for anything anymore. I mean, you can, of course, but with NFTs, you can literally say, hey, look, do you want to buy stock in this idea? This is my idea. Let's all buy some stock in this idea together, and let's build it together. And if it works, we're all going to make money from it, not just me.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Talking about community, NFT just got revealed, Floyd's World, for our number one boxing champ, Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. You got some of these. So
disclosure,
tell me about your experience. How do you feel about them?
Yeah, well, I think they're doing exactly what you say they're doing. They're offering, exclusive things that only NFT holders of the Floyd World would have, and some of it's like getting to go to his birthday party. Obviously, not all 11,000 holders will get that perk, but it's the the lottery, I guess, and other fan benefits. So I'm not the biggest boxing fan, but I think we're going to probably see some pretty cool stuff here, especially when more of the rest of the space opens up, and people learn more about this, because I think it is still so new to the market.
Yeah, he's pretty early, and I think you're going to see a lot of athletes and celebrities.
Right. I think like one of the first athletes that I can think of off the top of my head, but we'll have to do a little research on that.
Yeah. It's there's a few, and the ones that haven't launched yet, I know that they're getting ready to launch. I know Tom Brady had something in the works, and I mean, I think in the next, we're kind of at the cusp, right? And I think in the next 6 to 12 months, mean, we're going to be in for a wild ride in the NFT space. You're going to see people coming out of the woodwork with different NFT projects, and some are going to be kind of lame, some are going to be amazing, and some are going to be super innovative and really push the space in a new direction. And that's the ones I'm most excited for, right? I mean, I think the profile pick ones are kind of overdone at this point, and I think there's some cool communities still developing. And obviously I think there's more space for that, for them to grow. But I'm interested in seeing some, like you mentioned, some of these other use cases and how even some of the utility around these communities already have profile pics. Like, okay, like what's the next step? Okay, like, besides just dropping, another NFT, like in real life events, I think is what is really super. You're going to be the next kind of part of the space, and obviously it's hard with what's happening with COVID and everything in the world right now. And I think that's holding a little bit of that energy back. But I can't wait to, go to some of these. There's going to be more and more blending of the NFT metaverse world and in real life world. And I think the more and more that they overlap, the cooler things are going to get.
I agree with you. I'm glad you brought up the in real life aspect to it, because I think that is what hasn't fully been there with NFTs because of, the last year that they really took off. It's been COVID, like you said. So there's these smaller events, and I want to ask you about your last visit to Bright Moments, because that's a smaller community. It's the crypto Venetians, and you were able to go to a recent event.
Yeah, I was down at Bright Moments last night for H Plus Creative event. And H Plus Creative is represents an artist collective. And so it's a group of artists that do 3D, 2D, augmented reality, virtual reality, animation, all sorts of kind of avant-garde NFT style art. And a lot of them were kind of doing this kind of stuff already. They just didn't really have a platform that was, recognized like in the NFT world. But a lot of them were kind of creating this art already. And then the whole NFT thing happened, and they've a lot of them have been doing really, really well. So it was cool to see their art. The woman who runs her name's Hannah, and she kind of curates the artists that she brings into the collective. They kind of have this utopian, dystopian, futuristic vibe. She calls it like new futurism. And if you go over to brightmoments.io, and all the pieces are actually on a live auction right now that ends tomorrow. They're having a show tomorrow night. And last night I went to a panel discussion on the future of visual art. And it was just fascinating to hear these different panelists speak about their experience. And one of them, he was in the music industry, and he was doing a lot of like the graphics for hip hop artists. And, like when they come out with a new mixtape, or they come out with, they want their social media feed to look dope, or they need some like graphics for their music video. Like he was creating 3D graphics for a lot of these artists. And now he's making these NFT versions of these graphics for a lot of these hip hop artists. So when you drop a new album, right, you buy the NFT, and then the NFT is also your ticket to the show and your ticket to listen to this music. And it's also your ticket. Maybe there's some that gets you backstage. Right. So it's a whole new world when it comes to music and art. Another one, this guy, Kyle, he's writing a book called Computer Generated. And it's all about computer generated art, this whole new movement in the art world of using computers, using animation to make new kinds of art that never could have been created before until we had this technology. And he's been working on this book for over a year. And now just with the
I'm
NFT
excited
stuff,
about that. I didn't know it was coming along.
Yeah, it's super, super cool. And he was like the first developer that Snapchat ever hired to do augmented reality. So pretty much like all the filters that you see that make Snapchat like fun, like he helped design all of those. So so he's an OG when it comes to augmented reality. And so that's where I think we're going to start to see these NFTs kind of develop, where you could like they were talking about, one of the things they talked about is like you could be wearing like a cool designer shirt from like Versace or something, and it, for everyone else, it just looks like a green shirt. But if you have like the augmented reality like spectacles on or Google goggles on, like it's like this super dope, like epic piece. But like only people who have like the augmented reality like things would could see it, and so it'd be like this cool like flex but not flex, like
Right, right.
but like the wearables, they all talked about wearables, and wearables are going to be a huge convergence of these fields. And no one, I mean, people, yeah, people don't even know yet, but it's going to be crazy. Like you're going to be able to just like put your NFTs on a shirt and walk around, you know? So if you own, like, you know, you can literally change, you're going to be able to like change what your shirt looks like, you know, like throughout the day. You could just scroll through your different NFTs, like at your shirt or at a, you can imagine like Burning Man or whatever music festival you're at. Imagine the cool outfits people are going to have with the, like different NFTs that they're wearing. Like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, no, that's a cool thought. And it also reminds me of one of our next episodes about security of NFTs, and you know how they're stored on the code, and how they're accessed. And you're making me think of, you know, would you have to be connected to the internet for this, or you know, is your NFT downloaded on a little tiny?
It's on your it's on your ledger. It's on your ledger wallet, and
right,
and wallets and wallets are gonna. I mean, that's another thing where the user experience is also, you know, and I think I mean, just because of the speed with this is all like a big tidal wave, and I think it's crashing way faster than we all expected. I mean, Visa buying a CryptoPunk, like what? So I think the user experience is also going to be quickly accelerated as far as like how we solve a lot of these kind of like where it's clunky, you know, like, right. Like, okay, yeah. Like how would you wear an NFT without like this? I think all these things, there's going to be so much development in the space. I mean, like when these problems develop, there's like a $1 billion business that pops up like overnight to solve them.
Right. There's so much
like
growth.
Yeah, because there's so much talent. There's so many smart people jumping in the space. And the great thing about software is just how, you know, low entry it is. Even it doesn't really cost much to you just need to have a laptop and an internet connection and know how to code, and you can hop in and start participating in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. We're going to be talking to some of our artist friends and coders, and we're going to get your brother on soon, I think, too, right, Colin?
Yeah, we're going to get my brother Eric on soon. He's definitely deeply involved with everything that's happening in the crypto sphere, and he's a big fan of the Solana ecosystem like you. So we can have a Solana season episode possibly as well.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for our episode of Getting Nifty. So thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Thank you for exploring the world of blockchain with us.
Crypto and NFTs are changing the world. We're here to ensure you're ready.
Please subscribe, share this podcast with your friends, and leave us a review.
We look forward to sharing our next episode with you.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Cheers.